Hello everyone. Welcome to the Product Intelligence Sync on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day. So I hope for everyone who's this is relevant for did the right things. And then let's start with our weekly check-in. I hope everyone put in or prepared their victories, priorities, impediments. I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Okay. Miha, can you start, please?
Yeah, sure. So my victories were getting the Jira SQL metrics MR to review and adding estimations for the upcoming milestone. The impediment is that I'm still trying to get permissions on Salesforce Sandbox and priorities. Getting the Jira SQL metrics to production and version up migration scripts.
Okay, thanks a lot, Miha. Let me know if I can help somehow with the permissions. Takes kind of forever. Mikolai, you're up next.
So my victories are collaboratively fix version up export script, also getting version up package for Jihu out of the door. And also, it's not my win, but I want to double highlight it that Piotr did a great job around researching abstraction read layers for the ClickHouse. Impediments from the last weeks, there's definitely the layoffs threw me a little bit off the track, and the version up export script issue coming out of the blue. Practice for this week is finalize missing service ping metrics investigation, keep up with ClickHouse working group progress, and hopefully get to the Unify API spike work.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Mikolai. Okay, so next up it's me. So victories, one of them is that we finalized not tracking the IP addresses anymore, and also kind of not deriving accurate geolocation from IP addresses anymore, which should make it a bit easier on the legal side to argue with customers, because we actually don't need this information. That's quite nice. Also the quick resolution of the problems with the version app export, and yeah, so that's my victories. The impediment is that we don't have a lot of documentation on why we do some things, especially when it comes to the version app. Like, why do we need all these exports? That would be nice to have a bit more understanding there. My priorities are finalizing the next milestone, which is going to start next week, clarifying the next steps for Snowplow and Jitsu, and also get further into the analytics setup of the other team to clarify what we need to do, how can we help them. Piotr, you're up next.
My victories I finalized analysis of ClickHouse interface layer solutions. That was pretty fun. And I got the last summer for migration to Snowplow to review. Impediments, the expenses policy has changed, and I have to accelerate my plans around upgrading my office equipment because of that. I can elaborate on that later. And with priorities, probably I'm gonna take up on some more ClickHouse working group work. And I was thinking about the unified tracking interface spike. But we'll see. I probably have to share with Mikolai, I guess. That's it.
Awesome, thanks a lot. So Miles isn't here today. I think he's probably sleeping, I hope, for him.
Yeah, I think so. He's in US time zone.
Yeah. But you never know when you have little kids, if he's actually sleeping. I'm going to vocalize his victories. So one of the victories is actually building the collaboration with our team, which is nice for him to say, and helping the data platform team engage on issues. So I guess that's also why maybe why Radovan is here today. Miles was sick the last week and out of office for 3 days this week. Priorities for him are the automated service ping. So I hope we can get further there, and validating the Snowplow-based Redis counters. I think he also posted something about this in Slack yesterday, if you're curious about it. So Nico, just so that everyone's aware, currently doesn't have power and no internet. There was a cyclone in New Zealand the last days. As far as I know, it's just kind of the power and the internet that's gone. So he didn't write anything further, but I don't know yet 100%. So let's hope nothing else happened. And yeah, I'm gonna keep you updated as soon as I know more. Cool. Then Radovan.
Yeah, for the folks don't know me very well, I'm Radovan, senior data engineer from data platform team and also stable counterpart for Ran and the team. Glad to collaborate with you. Happy to be here. My victory is, as I said, jump into and start participating in this meeting, more like live participant, but still always eager to hear and see what's new. The second victory for me is define the entire scope to update Geo column, Sebastian, Ping, and also discuss already about this, and also S3 bucket. All models in Snowflake, massive set of data should be updated. Still didn't have time for independence or stuck anywhere, which is good for me. Priorities, main focus for me, as I said, is to deal with column updates for Geo, something, 3 of them. Snowplow, S3 bucket, all models, raw, prep, and prod layer. And this iteration we'll do only set to null. In the next one, we'll do drop columns to get rid of, let's say, technical debt. So, and also I have a minor housekeeping for automated service ping. So mainly that's me. As I said, thanks for reminding me.
Cool. Thanks a lot for participating in this, Radovan. All right. I think then we have everyone. Jonas isn't here today, and he also didn't leave anything in the document, as far as I can see. Then I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and we can go into the actual topics for today. Seems like I have the only topics. So the first one is connected to our the problems we actually had with the version app. Just to give everyone context, the version app export pipelines failed. All of them started to fail, I think, Wednesday or Thursday last week, and we only were notified 1 day later because actually of the data team noticing that no data is coming in, which is not ideal. So we need additional alerts around that, ideally, so that we kind of automatically get notified in the moment that this happens. But kind of through that, I discovered, or I saw that we have kind of different methods of alerting right now. And I just was wondering, or wanted to have a discussion around what is kind of the preferred way. Like if we want to have an alert around the system, how do we want to have it, or in what kind of channel do we want to have it? So just because for example, we're getting, for the bad events on Snowplow, we're getting the SciSense email that comes into our Slack channel. Also for Snowplow, if something is backing up in the pipeline itself, we're getting an email onto our product intelligence email address. So that's kind of the something we're only getting as email. There's no Slack notification as far as I know. And then for the version app export, there was again the proposal to do it as a Slack post, but potentially in the version apps separate Slack channel. And I don't know, maybe there's more that I'm not aware of. And I just wanted to know from everyone, or get everyone's opinions on maybe we should standardize on one way that's kind of the preferred way if we set up an alert for something, so that we always know, okay, the final result should be in this channel, like either email or Slack in a specific channel, so that that this is kind of consistent.
So
You know, okay, sorry, go on. I just want to share my experience, but please carry on, Nikolai.
Okay, thanks. So I just wanted to share my view on alerts, which I draw from a great presentation I participated quite some time ago. That because humans are really generally very good at ignoring things that are constant. Like if people live by the railway, they will not hear the trains after a couple of days, even there's tons of them passing by. And the same goes for the alerts. They should only be done for the most important things. And if they buzz, it means that we drop what we are doing right now and run to check them and fix them. Because if not, they become this buzzing noise that we start to ignore. And we will not react, even if there would be a one, which is really important. And for the same reason, they should be centralized. So there should be only one place where everyone can see and react immediately when they see the alert. Otherwise, they kind of lose their purpose, because if there's like 10 different channels that there can be flashing and buzzing and we don't really pay attention to them, then we will never pay attention to them and we will not spot the alerts, because, well, we could saw the pipeline is failing in the pipeline execution tab, but we haven't checked it out because we don't do it regularly. So for that reason, I would suggest probably maybe group channel. And only consider, like, for example, debugging events. We don't really react to that much. So probably it's not a good candidate to put it on the group channel. And for the version app, probably it is important because we reacted immediately. Then I would put it to the group channel. So it's centralized and it can be actionable.
Yeah, the problem with the events backing up is that it's not really actionable. That depends on infrastructure work, and we don't have an ability to actually fix this ourselves. So it's good that we know if when we possibly have to contact the infrastructure team, but otherwise it's not really useful.
Maybe Nikolai, do you want to voice what your reaction to this?
Yeah, so that's okay. Like if there are some things that we are not able to react, and we should tear ourselves apart over this, but then we should just change the policy. If this is not actionable, either turn it to just the dashboard and don't alert it on if we cannot react, or for example, change the threshold. Like we have 24 hours and we know that we are fine, we can wait and doesn't really matter, and no one really is taking action. So probably let's change it to we have 1 hour and then we're gonna rang every bell and like scream on every infra channel that we need help and we need it now. And that way it will be actionable. Even if we cannot fix it, we will react because we will turn it into the incident. And right now we don't really react to it. So even if it appears, we don't check it because it appears and disappears. And we actually would miss this 1 hour threshold when it can be a problem. So either change the threshold. So we rang a bell, and this is our action, rang the bell, loop the infra, and file the S1 incident, or remove it and turn it into just a dashboard that we check from, I don't know, milestone to milestone, and see if we are generally okay state.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we already have our threshold set. So I guess there's not really much to escalate from that, I guess. Oh, we just probably need to talk to the infra team about that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with Nikolai in either we make it actionable for us or we just remove it and I don't know, trust the infra team to handle it. But that's then something to look into, because I would completely agree. So for example, as a newcomer coming in then with this Cloud Watch alert, it's then kind of hard to understand, okay, do I need to react? Do I not need to react? What do I need to do? Like, is it something that I need to handle? If it's an alert that's not actionable, then this becomes tricky. Radovan, you wanted to share something about how you handle.
Yeah, exactly. I want to share our experience for the data team. Initially, before we had some ideas to put everything in dashboard, but it's extremely easy to overlook that if you don't have a habit to look in dashboard often. And also, I don't know how you organize your triage, but we have a weekly triage. So one person taking care about all incidents and all problems. And we have exclusive only one Slack channel. In our case, it's called data pipelines. Everything that is problematic went there. And that person is taking care about that. I know we try to reduce noise all the time, but I would say 99% of the time, everything is there in one place, and it's fairly easy to do some action as a follow-up. And as I said, for data-specific things about quality of the data, everything else regarding the data, some alerts and data checks, we have Monte Carlo. But for us, let's say, commonality between these two teams, our team and your team, is about that exclusive Slack channel and triage person taking care about that. So that's our recipe to do not miss anything. So that's just my experience. Maybe you can use something from that. I don't know, as I said, how you organize your work and your triage duties.
How many, I don't know if you want to share this, but how many errors do you normally get that someone needs to take care of during a week?
It's fairly hard to say. Sometimes, good thing now, we have separated DE issues, data engineering, from analytics engineering issues. So we have two Slack channels now. Before it was one, it was very noisy. Now we, let's say, redefine the ownership. And sometimes it's literally once per day, maybe 2 per day, including Monte Carlo alerts, which is also cool because we have one place. And usually that's your dashboard. That's like channels, you press something and go directly in dashboard in Monte Carlo or in Airflow, depends when error happen. And it can be really to infinite. Let's say if Postgres pipeline failed, you will have hundreds per day, but it's really noisy, as Nikolai said, then you can be lost. So we try also to reduce that part. But I would say in average now it's not more than 5. So you can literally physically look into each of these. And that's your duty because you're working on triage and that's your highest priority. I don't know, do you have that triage person or not? But that's how we are working.
Yeah, because I think, I mean, right now, my understanding would be that our current system works quite well because we don't have that many alerts. It's maybe once per week or something that, or if it comes to twice per week. So, and then whoever has time looks into it. At least that's my feeling right now. I would kind of be okay with trying to figure, or like as next steps from here, to figure out how to make this CloudWatch email like alert either more actionable and then put it into Slack, or not have it at all. And otherwise, it seems that no one would be opposed to just having, for example, also the version app alert, so any kind of alert that we need to react in the broad intelligence channel. Because I think then, at least for us, with the limited amount of alerts we have, we would also be very motivated to keep only alerts that are actually actionable in there, because otherwise this channel itself will become unusable. So I think that would be the good thing about not having a separate channel for this, because then you don't care that much if like some notified channel is kind of full of alerts, but if it's our main channel, it kind of makes us look bad.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just told my experience because it said we have exclusive person taking care only about that, and that person is on triage. So yeah, I will watch that for the entire day for 1 week and probably will not miss anything. But you have a different, let's say, setup and much lower number of issues. So yeah, it's not once per week. Luckily, I wish to go there, but still not there.
We can hope we can keep it there.
Yeah.
Okay, does anyone have another opinion, or should we move on to the last point? Nikolai, I think you're saying something, but you're muted.
Okay, now she'll be back. So additionally, we can also leverage GitLab API to create issues. I think there was even the incident issues API, which can return the lower priority alerts. So if this alert is not that actionable, that we're gonna drop everything that we are doing, we're not gonna send it to Slack, but we can create issue that we're gonna review as a part of preparation to the milestone and check like, okay, do we want to take care of it or not? So it doesn't really become that much of a noise, yet it doesn't really goes under the radar.
Okay. Yeah, that's maybe also a good point. I feel like email is probably really the worst place because there it really gets lost.
Yeah.
Okay, the last point that I had on there is getting rid of usage data.rb. It's because it somehow crept up in discussions again and again, and so I just want to kind of ask again also, because we have still 800 lines of code in usage data.rb. My understanding is that in general, like if we could snap our fingers and turn all of them into instrumentation classes, that would definitely be something we'd do. But apart from anyone here being a magician, that's not how it's going to work. And so it also feels like we can't really push this onto others. So for example, in an MR that Mikola made this comment on, okay, this should actually be moved out, but it's not really part of the original MR. So if someone kind of modifies an existing metric there, they're probably not going to do the extra work of moving it out in the instrumentation class. That's my understanding right now. Maybe you have as you have more insight into the review process and so on, maybe you have a different experience of kind of actually the number of lines being removed bit by bit. My question would mainly be from your perspective as engineers working daily with and having to do reviews in there and so on. Do you feel like we would benefit from, for example, I don't know, doing one issue per milestone to remove certain like a part of or migrate a part of the usage data.rb, or is it rather something that actually doesn't hurt that much and we're okay with just kind of very, very slowly doing it whenever like it comes up because we need to migrate some metric because of changing something on a specific metric?
So for me, in my experience with reviews, when I saw someone edit a metric in usage data RB, or even like add a similar metric to ones that we already have, I always ask them to move it to instrumentation classes. And I believe we had that documented somewhere, that this is the approach that we want to take. So at least in this way, we're moving forward slowly but surely. And about adding something like an issue per milestone to migrate it, I think I would be happy with it. We did have some of that last year, because I remember working on some issues like this, and I did enjoy them, and it's nice to feel that this class is getting at least a bit smaller. Yeah, although I also understand that it's not like a super high priority thing, because in the end, we're not using this file that much. Like we usually don't need to look inside it and see how every single metric works.
Yeah, but if I understand correctly, they're asking for moving a metric into an instrumentation class. That's something you mainly did when someone added something on top, correct? So that the usage data.rb doesn't grow further, or were you actually successful in also telling them to move it when they try to edit or change an existing metric?
Where they try to edit an existing metric, I also asked them to move it to instrumentation classes.
And that worked out?
Yes.
Good to know.
And I believe we have that somewhere, written down somewhere, but I would need to check.
We also generally discourage changing metrics in the sense that editing the code in place, but rather to remove the metric and add the new one, which helps in that endeavor because, well, they need to add the new metrics anyway. So let's add it to the instrumentation class.
Yeah. Do we have more opinions? Like, so Miha already said, okay, he likes actually these issues of moving a metric out of the this data.rb, because I would assume it's also kind of a pretty defined process. If we say, okay, hey, let's move this specific metric out, it's something that you can easily pick up between other issues, and it's clearly defined what you're going to do. There's not many mistakes to make, and it might feel actually good. Is this a feeling that others are sharing, so that they would actually enjoy doing those, or is it more like, okay, it would be a chore if there's like one of those issues per milestone?
I'll be okay. Like, it gets us to the better state of the code base. Probably all hands on deck, and like the service ready to upload migration would be a little bit overwhelming and tedious if we try to go all at once. But if we like take one issue for like, I don't know, weight of 3, so like, I don't know, 3-4 metrics per milestone, and the different engineer takes it every time, then probably it wouldn't be that tedious, and it would move us slowly but steadily to the better shape.
Okay, cool. Because then we might even start, like, I'm going to look into this a bit, maybe set up an epic and kind of slowly start doing this, because I would also, I think it just would reduce confusion. So, I mean, yes, I think from my perspective, the return on investment on moving a single metric is probably not that big. The return on invest of getting rid of the whole file would be very big in my assumption, because it just would kind of remove a whole class of potential confusion around, okay, how do I instrument metrics and so on. So I think that's the problem with such a thing, that it's kind of a long way to get to the really big payoff.
Yeah, and also then opens up the avenues for really nice performance improvements, because right now everything needs to run in a single process, because there's this huge single file that implements the metrics. But if we get to the state, finally to the state that where every metric is kind of independent because it's implemented by the different class, then it's not far away from, let's schedule these jobs to calculate every metric, put it together in the Redis, in the database, wherever, put it together in some persistent storage, and then just pick up the payload and send it over, which then helps us to get from the single sidekick job limitations of like 1 hour of execution time and whatnot. So it helps us to distribute workload of the service being way better than right now, which is a single heavy process to run.
Cool, good to know. All right, we're already at time, or even a bit over. Is there anything left anyone wants to mention? Anything that's not written down? If not, then I wish everyone a nice week and a nice rest of the day, and then see you around. Thanks for attending.
Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.